Hey, Knicks Nation, how you doing? This is Sincere from Sincere Knicks Fan 34. How are you doing? Me, I'm irritated. I just went and saw this game. New York Knicks went and lost to the OKC Oklahoma City Thunder 111 to 100. You know what I'm saying? Now, before we get into it, let me bring it back real quick. If you have not already subscribed, please subscribe, like, share, comment. Let's make that thing happen. All right, now we got that business out the way. Let's go and get to this game. So, realistically, I'm looking at the game, just finished watching the game, and there were a few things that just didn't sit in well with me. So, the first thing was that the New York Knicks, we ourselves had 18 turnovers. I already told you before, if we have more than 13, that's never a good look. OKC had 13 turnovers. We had 18. I think that's what helped us to lose the game. We had some silly turnovers. We had some weird bounces. I will give that to them. OKC came ready to play, and I believe the Knicks, to a certain degree, came to play. They gave effort. They had better energy. But the idea is there were a couple things that really got on my nerves. One of the things that got on my nerves was the idea that the New York Knicks and OKC and the Oklahoma City Thunder, there was a complete disparity when it came to the number of free throw attempts. OKC went to the free throw line 38 times compared to the New York Knicks 17. That's more than double. You know what I'm saying? So I feel a certain way about that because even if you're not a Knicks fan, there's something that's really is, and it's not just with the Knicks. Like the referees really do look like they really are just trying to find ways to help. OKC don't need help. They're the reigning NBA champions. They don't need help. You know what I'm saying? But I know that there's an undercurrent of believability when it comes to certain calls, that type of deal. Now, some of y'all might be like, yo, man, you being a hater, man. If the Knicks would have won, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't be calling it like that. You may be right. You may be right to a certain extent. I would think if it was a thing where we were getting favorable calls like that at the extent that OKC did, in my opinion, tonight, I probably would speak on that and be like, to be fair and honest, I'm happy we won, but did we really need the referees to help us? You know what I'm saying? And I felt that the referees was allowing a lot more physical contact with the Knicks. And then when it came on the other end, our New York Knicks is getting called for way less physical contact. To the point where even Coach Brown, shout out to Coach Brown, because he went out there and got himself a technical foul because he was furious. He was irate because he even saw that there was a disparity compared from one call to the next, from one team to the next. It was a complete one-sided situation. You know what I'm saying? The idea is he himself was ready to get kicked out of the game because like, what's the point if you're gonna just give this other team the ability to just essentially manhandle us, but yet when we come and we just be a little physical, y'all ready to be on the whistles and blow the whistles off the rip. So I felt a certain way about that. So the officiating from the standpoint of number of attempts to get to the free throw line, there's a true disparity, in my opinion. If y'all feel the same way, or even if you feel different, hit it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel, baby. Just let me know. The other thing was the idea of Karl Anthony Towns. Now, in the beginning, I was upset because they really wasn't getting the ball to him early in the game. They weren't getting the ball to him early in the game. I mean, I believe he only had like maybe a few touches, if at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe he only had maybe 1 to 3 touches in the first half. But the idea is when they got the ball to him in the second half, he was able to get the team within 4 points of the game, and they yanked him out of the game. Why did they pull Karl Anthony Towns out the game? He was making a run of his own doing damage inside. He wasn't even, I don't think he even made a single three. I don't believe Karl-Anthony Towns made a three all night. He was destroying OKC in the paint all by himself. And they took him out. The coach took him out. The team did not get him the ball. They always seem to be able to find Josh Hart. They always be able to find a way to get the ball to Brunson. They always seem to be able to find a way to get the ball to OG Anunoby. What is going on that our New York Knicks keep overlooking Karl-Anthony Towns? I could understand if he was in foul trouble and they're just trying to keep him out of foul trouble. That's not what happened tonight. They kept the ball from going to him often. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, he was getting the ball in the third quarter. He was getting it maybe even in the beginning of the fourth. And then it was just, all right, time to pull it out from under him. It's Brunson time. I don't know what happened there. I have no idea. And when Brunson had the ball, he was trying to win us the game. So I'm not really mad at Brunson. Brunson had 32 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 57% from behind the three-point line. So I'm not mad at him because he at least produced. Right? He was productive when he had the ball in his hands. I can't not knock that. But my point is, Karl-Anthony Towns should have had the ball so much more. This game was winnable. The game was winnable. And I think that was yanked away from us. I don't even know why. But the idea is, I would think that Karl-Anthony Towns would have been instrumental to a win if we would have kept going to him. He might have been able to open the floor for us just a little bit more if we were able to get him the ball and just get out of his way. And that's not what happened tonight. Somehow it became more of the Brunson show. Like I said, Brunson was doing his thing. I'm not knocking Brunson for getting his points. But I am upset from the standpoint of Karl-Anthony Towns at the end of the game. The man had like 15 points, I think 18 rebounds. And he could have easily gotten 21, 25 points just by feeding him the ball. They had no answer. And they continued to yank him out when he was starting to get into a rhythm. And that made no sense, at least to me, right? As a Knicks fan, I was expecting us to be so much closer, and we lose the way that we lose tonight. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I can't tell you what the strategy is on that. I don't know what that was going on. Brunson was doing his thing in terms of doing his thing. Like, he was going to be in that go-to guy. But they just kind of let Towns just vanish. It wasn't that he wasn't willing to take the ball. They disappeared him. And if it's going to be like that going into the playoffs, that would be the trade I would be upset with. Because if you're not going to use him, why'd you trade for him? If the coach can't figure out how to use him, why did you trade for him? Why did you hire that coach? Right? So these are the things that get under my skin. These are things that are bothering me right now. We were right there with him with rebounds. Assists were pretty interesting. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, the turnovers were not so much. The game was not that close to where like, one or two turnovers was the difference in the game. But not getting your second best player the ball for the vast majority of the second half, yeah, that's abominable. That's detestable. You know what I'm saying? That's an indictment. Now the question is it an indictment on the coach or the player? So that's something to think about. All right. So the idea is New York Knicks lost. We just got to suck it up. I expect us to continue to get better. I'm hoping Karl-Anthony Towns gets the ball more. I was happy to see McBride back in the game. You know what I'm saying? I was clearly not happy to see him go out. You know, prayers to McBride. Hopefully whatever is going on with his leg, you know what I'm saying, that it gets handled. You know what I'm saying? So legit, sincere prayers to him and his family. You know, hope he has a speedy recovery, and we go from there. All right? You know, wish the same for Shamet as well. Shamet didn't play tonight, but I was expecting both within the next couple of weeks to be a part of it. Not going to hold it any further than this. So the idea is this. I expect better. If you have not already, please subscribe, like, share, comment. All right? I'll talk to you later. Bye. Let's get it.